Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale and I'm owner of Off the Beaded Path, which is located in Forest City, North Carolina. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful twin bead ring. It has a diamond shape to it and it's very simple to make. Now for those of you who've never used twin beads, this is going to be a new experience. A twin bead is an oval shaped bead that has two holes in it. And the thing you'll want to be careful of when you actually start working is that depending on the brand, some of the beads that you get won't be the same size and shape. So you'll want to go through the twin beads that you're going to use for the project and make sure they're all uniform when you use them. Excuse me. I started out with a green. This jet iris teal, which is a really cool color, but hardly every other one was not uniformly shaped, so I had to go through quite a few. But now the second tube I played with, which is this brown iris, which I'm going to show you today, the first thing I put out, every one of the beads was the exact same size. So I think it's just going to depend on the brand you buy, the run that you get of them, but out of one tube of twins you're going to be able to make a lot of these rings, no worries. So you're going to need some twin beads. You're going to need a 6mm Montee that will go in the center of the ring. You're going to need some 3mm either bicone or round beads as accents, as well as some 3mm rounds for the ring band. You're also going to need some size 11 seed beads, only about a capful, not many at all. And then I'm going to be using an 8-pound fire line. You can use an 8 or a 6, a size 12 beading needle, and then I'm going to be making the stretchy band, so I'll be using 2 big eye needles and some 0.5mm stretch magic. So get your materials together and let's get started. So I have my needle threaded with a yard of fire line. And the first thing I'm going to do is pick up 8 twin beads. Now if you look, you can see the 2 holes there. You're just going to pick up on either hole. It doesn't matter at this point. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I have my 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to bring them down, leave myself a short tail, and I'm going to go back through all 8 beads again. Hold my tail, pull that on through, makes a circle of beads there, and I'm going to go ahead and tie the tail and the working thread together into a couple of knots. Once you have those tied into some knots, you're going to take your needle and you're going to go through 2 beads next to the knot. So I'm just going to go straight through 2 beads. I'm going to pick up my Montee now. This is a 6mm Montee. I'm using light Colorado topaz. I'm coming out of these 2 twin beads here. I'm going to skip the next 2, and then when I come to the next 2, I'm going to come back through them, coming back towards the start, so that my Montee will lay at a diagonal. So I'm going to do it like this so you can kind of see. Here's where I was originally coming out, skip 2 beads, and then I'm coming back through these 2, coming this way. So that when you pull, your Montee lays on top of what you got at a diagonal. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through the other hole of my Montee. And then through the first 2 beads that I started with here at the top. Going through that same little hole. so that when you pull, this is what you'll have. Now I'm going to go ahead, and you can use your cutters or a thread zapper to get rid of that tail so it's not in your way. Okay, I'm going to take my needle. It's coming out of this twin bead here. It's got a bottom hole in it that I'm coming out of, and it has a top hole. So I'm going to take my needle, and I'm just going to come straight through this top hole here so that it gets me into position. And the only place you're going to see the thread is right here. And you're not even going to be able to see the thread once we get all of our beads into place. So don't worry. So first thing, I'm going to pick up one twin bead, and I'm going to go straight through the top hole of the very next twin bead. So this is what you have. I'm going to pick up two twin beads. I'm going to come to the very next twin and go straight through that one bead. Pick up one twin, go to the very next twin bead, that top hole, pick up two twins, gonna go to the very next twin and go up to that top hole, one twin, go through the very top bead of the next twin, pick up two twins, go through the top hole of the next one, one twin, I'm going to go through the top hole of the next one, and then finally two twins, and I'm going to go through the top hole of my very last one here in the row, and then I'm just going to continue on through the very first twin that I added in this row. So I'm going through the top hole of the last one, and then through the hole here of the very first one that I added on this round. So that when completed, this is what it's going to look like. Alright, this is the twin I'm coming out of. I'm coming out of the bottom hole. So I'm going to take my needle, and I'm just going to come right up through the top hole, so that when you pull, the only place you're going to see your thread is right there, and again, you're really not going to see that thread, so no worries. Firstly, I'm going to pick up one 3mm, and I'm going to come through the very next twin and go through the top hole of that twin. I'm going to pick up one size 11 seed bead. I'm going to come through the top hole of the next twin bead. Pick up one 3mm. I'm going to go through the top hole of the next twin. Pick up a 3mm. Go through the top hole of the next twin. Pick up 111 and go through the top hole of the next twin bead. One 3mm and go through the top hole of the next twin. One 3mm, go through the top hole of the next twin. 1 size 11 seed bead. And I'm going to go through the top hole of the next twin. 1 3mm, go through the top hole of the next twin. 1 3mm, go through the top hole of the very next twin. 1 size 11, go through the top hole of the next twin, and then 1 3mm, and you're going to go through that top hole here of the last twin bead that you added, so that once you've gone around, this is what you should have at this point. I'm going to continue on through the 3mm, the twin, the 11, the twin, and the 3mm. This is where we're going to add our ring shank, and we're going to be adding or going through kind of and just reinforcing. So we're ready for the first side of our ring shank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 1 twin bead, 1 11, 1 3mm, and 1 11. I'm going to let those drop all the way down. I'm going to skip the 3 beads I just added, and I'm going to come back down through the other hole of the twin bead and pull, so that this is what you'll have. I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come through the very next 3mm there on the base. So the only thing I'm actually skipping is the twin bead here that's laying in this direction. So just like that. I'm going to continue on through the twin, the 11, the twin, and the 3mm. I'll pick up 3 size 11s. I'm going to skip the little twin and go right through the next 3mm there on the base, so that makes a point there at the bottom of my earring or my ring. Now I'm going to continue on through the twin, the 11, the twin, and the 3mm. So twin, 11, twin, and 3mm. Okay, I'm going to add the other shank here for the other side of my ring. So I'm going to thread on my twin, an 11, a 3mm, and an 11. Let these drop all the way down. Skip the 3 beads I just put on and go back down through the second hole of the twin bead. I'm going to skip the little twin and go through the next 3mm there on the base to anchor that other side of the ring. Then I'm going to continue on through the twin, the 11, the twin, and the 3mm. Pick up 3 11s, skip the twin, and then go through the next 3mm. So that now you have the top of your ring complete and you're ready to add the ring band. I suggest that you go back through the outer beads again that we've added to reinforce them, and then tie this thread off with a couple of half hitch knots. So I've gone ahead and centered my 0.5mm Stretch Magic into one of the end pieces here for the ring shank. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to pick up 1 3mm onto each thread. Then take 1 3mm and cross your threads opposite ways through that one bead. And on this very first one, I'll actually put my threads together and then pull the bead down so that it centers the shank on the thread. And you'll just want to continue picking up 1 3mm onto each thread. And then pick up 1 and cross your threads opposite ways through the one bead. And you'll continue this until you reach the length. Now that I've reached the desired length, I've ended with 1 3mm onto each thread. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take one side of my ring band, and as I bend it over, I'm going to take that one side and I'm going to go right through the 3mm on the opposite from where I started. Now I'm going to take the 2 threads, I'm going to tie them together, and be very careful not to get that 3mm that you've added in the knot. So just put yourself a couple of really good knots in there, and then take your thread burner or your cutters and trim those tails so that now you have a beautiful new twin bead ring. Now I did the brown sample for you today. I'm wearing a really pretty green and purple, and then I've also done a blue, different colors of blue. Now here's another version of the ring band that I did using the twin beads, and I don't like this one as much because it's hard to get it even and it doesn't feel as good when you wear it. But basically what I did was I come out of my 3mm and then I added enough beads to make my ring base. Then I come through the twin that I had added here, and then I went through, I added my 11, went through the twin, added an 11, went through the twin, added 11, went through the twin, all the way back till I got to the beginning. Now this is not a stretchy band, this is a permanent type band, so it's the only thing you need to think about that. So these are the 3 samples, and I will have one more color sample available online in our Etsy store, as well as the PDF pattern that you can purchase on our Etsy store or on our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to use the new twin beads and how to make this cute and quick ring. Be sure and come back next week when I'll teach you how to make a pair of earrings with these twin beads. Now, we will have the pattern and kits available on our Etsy site, as well as the tubes of the twin beads if you'd like to just purchase the twin beads. So I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you again next week for another fun video. Bye-bye!